A doctor in Chicago makes $380,000 a year. Her name is Sarah. She's 44 years old. She drives a leased BMW. Her kids are in private school, and most weeknights the family eats out because nobody has the energy to cook after a 14-hour day. Her mortgage is $4,200 a month. Her colleagues assume she's set for life. Last spring, Sarah sat down to figure out how much she could actually pull together if she needed to. An emergency. A real one. She came up with $4,800, one unexpected medical bill, ironic given her profession, and she'd be reaching for a credit card. Sarah is not an exception. Sarah is the rule. My name is Victoria. I'm not here to make finance complicated. I'm here to make sure they stop using that complexity against you. If nobody ever explained this to you clearly and honestly, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe so you never miss a breakdown like this one. And stay with me, because what I'm about to show you could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to your future self. In this video, you're going to discover why 41% of Americans earning between $300,000 and $500,000 live paycheck to paycheck. You'll learn the exact psychological mechanism that makes high earners spend every dollar they make, and why willpower has nothing to do with it. I'll show you the simple math that reveals what your income should be building and what it's actually building instead. And I'll give you one thing you can do this week, not someday, that starts breaking the trap immediately. Stay until the end, because the most important thing I'll tell you today is the last thing I say. Here's the first thing you need to understand. Income does not create wealth. Behavior does. Most people believe there's a number. Hit $100,000 and things get easier. Hit $200,000 and money stops being a problem. Hit $500,000 and you're free. The data destroys this belief completely. A 2025 Goldman Sachs report found that 40% of Americans earning over $500,000 report living paycheck to paycheck. 4 out of 10 people making $500,000 a year feel they have no financial cushion. That is not a math problem. That is a psychology problem. And it has a name. It's called the high-income poverty trap. And it doesn't care how much you make. It only cares how much you keep. But here's where it gets interesting. Because the trap doesn't feel like a trap when you're walking into it. It feels like progress. When Sarah got her first attending physician salary, she upgraded her apartment. Reasonable. She'd been living like a student for a decade. When her income grew, she upgraded her car. She'd earned it. When her kids reached school age, private school felt like the responsible choice for someone at her income level. Each decision made sense in isolation. Each decision was technically affordable. But here's what nobody tells you, and I mean nobody. Not your HR department, not your financial advisor, not the bank that approved your mortgage. Every time you upgrade your lifestyle, you don't just spend more money. You create a new floor, a floor you can never go below without it feeling like failure. The BMW in the driveway stops being a luxury. It becomes normal. Downgrading to a Honda doesn't feel like saving money. It feels like losing status. Private school stops being a choice. It becomes an obligation. Canceling it feels like you're failing your children. The restaurant dinners stop being treats. They become part of how the family functions. Cooking feels like a step backward. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill. Imagine a treadmill where every time you walk faster, the belt speeds up to match. You're exhausted. You're working harder than ever. And you're standing in exactly the same place. That is what happens to financial satisfaction every single time income goes up. The lifestyle expands, the baseline resets, and the feeling of enough moves just out of reach. Again. If this is already opening your eyes, hit the like button right now. It helps this information reach the people who need it most, and they do need it. Now let me show you what this actually costs, because this is the part that should make you stop and do the math on your own life. 2 people, both earn $300,000 a year. Same income, same tax bracket, same market returns on their investments. Person A saves 30% of their income. $90,000 a year. Over 20 years at a 7% average return, that becomes roughly $4 million. Person B saves 5%, $15,000 a year, same timeline, same returns. They end up with approximately $650,000. The difference between those two people is not talent. It is not income. It is not luck. It is $3.35 million, lost entirely to lifestyle. Sarah earns enough to save $100,000 a year and still live exceptionally well on the remaining $280,000. She saves almost nothing, not because she can't, because her fixed costs, mortgage, car leases, school tuition, club memberships, have consumed every dollar before it ever reaches a savings account. This is what the millionaire next door calls a UAW, an underaccumulator of wealth. And here's the formula that will tell you which category you fall into right now. Take your age, multiply it by your pre-tax annual income, divide by 10. That's approximately what your net worth should be. A 44-year-old earning $380,000 should have around $1.67 million. Sarah has less than $5,000 in liquid savings. The rest is tied up in a house she can't easily sell and retirement accounts she can't touch. Most high earners fail this test dramatically, and most have never heard of it. The plumber who drives a 10-year-old truck and never talks about money at dinner parties might have $2 million in index funds. The doctor with the BMW and the designer watch might have $4,800. Appearances and reality are not the same thing. They never were. So what do you actually do? Here's the one thing I want you to do this week. Not next month, not when things calm down, this week. Calculate your savings rate. Take everything you saved last month, retirement contributions, investment accounts, actual savings, and divide it by your take-home income. If that number is below 15%, you are in the trap. You may not feel it yet, but the math is already working against you. Then automate one transfer, not a big one. Whatever feels uncomfortable, but not impossible. Move it out of your checking account the same day your paycheck arrives. Before you see it, before you spend it. Spending what's left after saving works. Saving what's left after spending never does. This is not a discipline strategy. It is an engineering strategy. You are redesigning the system so the trap has less to work with. Remember Sarah, 44 years old, $380,000 a year, $4,800 in the bank. She didn't end up there because she was irresponsible. She ended up there because every single spending decision she made was reasonable, in isolation. The trap is built from reasonable decisions stacked on top of each other until the weight becomes invisible. Here are the 3 things I want you to leave with today. 1. Income does not create wealth. Savings rate does. A person earning $75,000 and saving 20% is building more financial security than a person earning $300,000 and saving 3%. 2. Lifestyle upgrades create floors, not ceilings. Every time you upgrade, you raise the minimum cost of your life, and minimum costs are the hardest expenses to cut. 3. The escape is not deprivation, it is intention. You do not have to earn less or live worse. You have to decide, consciously, deliberately, what portion of your income belongs to your future before your present gets to spend it. Your financial advisor is not going to call you and say your savings rate is too low. Your employer is not going to warn you that your 401k contribution is insufficient. Your bank is certainly not going to explain that your mortgage and car payments are quietly making them rich while keeping you broke. But you heard it here. And now the next move is yours. If this video gave you something, share it with one person who is building their future right now. Subscribe to Growth Victoria for a new breakdown every week, and I'll see you in the next one. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Always consult a qualified financial professional before making any investment decisions.